YouTube, you already know. Big Lou tapping back in with what it do with Big Lou NFZR2, baby. So, as you can tell from that thumbnail, UFC 301 making its way back to Brazil in Sudamerica, in South America, right? The King of Rio is coming back in the octagon, which is Jose Aldo in español, but in Portuguese es Jose Aldo, right? So I'm not like, I'll be honest, this card right here, I mean, even the champion Alejandro Pantoja, and I think he's Brazilian too. I don't know how to pronounce that last name in Portuguese. And I don't Pantoja probably or something like that. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. And I think he's Brazilian too, right? Then again, he might not be Brazilian. I could be wrong on that. Matter of fact, let me look that up. I want to be sure about that. Let's see. What's his first name? His first name is Alejandro. See, it's Alexandre, right? Alexandre. Yeah, Brazilian. He's Brazilian, so I was correct. So he is Brazilian. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about the three fights because the fourth one's already over. It's Michael Pereira. He won in the first round. 54 seconds with a submission over Ihor Potida. I don't know how to say that name right. So we got Anthony Smith, light heavyweight. He's 37-19. Oof, that's a lot of losses, right? But he's a tough mofo when he gets in there and he gets busy and he slings them. And he's not, he's one of these dudes that's going to fight, And I think, too, with the records when it comes to UFC and mixed martial arts, especially, it's you don't see undefeated guys. I mean, the only one that comes to my mind, Khabib, right? Khabib. And I think John Jones is still undefeated, but he has maybe a no contest there. George St. Pierre lost twice to the Mats, and he came back and knocked them out. But like McGregor, Poirier, Gagey, Chandler, all these dudes, they got a lot of losses just because they're just, Masvidal, another one. They're tough mofos, and they get in there and they fight. You know what I mean? They fight, and they don't care. They get in there with the toughest of the tough, and they, whatever happens, happens. Kamaru Usman has what, two losses to Edwards now. So I think he only has two losses. No, I think he has a loss from earlier in his career, I think. So he has three losses. 2 or 3, one or the other. And then you got Leon Edwards just got the one loss to Kamaru Usman in the first one, right? So Anthony Smith, like I said, 37-19 is going up against Vitor Petrino. I don't know if he's also Brazilian or if he's Italian or Sicilian. I'm not sure. Or he could even be Spanish or Latino. You know what I mean? I don't know. And it sounds funny me saying Latino. Italian, Portuguese, or not Portuguese, Brazilian, but more so the Italian, Sicilian. And then I said Spain, and I go, and he could be Latino. It sounds funny because really the Italians were the first, pretty much the first Latinos, right? They spoke the Latin language in Rome, right, back in the day. So it kind of like was an oxymoron, I guess. Anyways, I don't know much about him. He's 11-0, pretty good record in the UFC thus far. But we know Anthony Smith's a beast, so I guess I'll just go with Anthony Smith because I know of Anthony Smith. And then bantamweight co-main event, we got El Rey del Rio, the King of Rio, Jose Aldo, 31-8. That's a pretty good record, but boxing wise, that would be a lot of losses. But competitive losses, you know what I'm saying? And he's going up against Jonathan Martinez, who's 19-4, and he's a Mexican American. I thought Jose Aldo retired, so apparently he came out of retirement. Yeah, because I could have swore he was in the octagon and he was crying, and his wife came and joined him, and I could have swore he put the gloves down, but I guess the octagon called him back. He hasn't been on top since McGregor took the title from him in what, 20 seconds? And I don't even think it was 20 seconds. I think it was about maybe 10 seconds. As soon as McGregor caught him with the left, it was over with. And then in the main event, we got Alexandre Pantoja contra Steve Ergseg, who is 12-1, and Pantoja is 27-5, and he's the current champion at the flyweight division. So in the Aldo, Jose Aldo, Jonathan Martinez, I'm gonna go with Martinez. And then in the main event, oh man, and Steve Ergseg is on a 11-fight win streak. So when he started this streak, he was 1-1 in the UFC, and now he's won his last 11 fights, which is pretty darn good. But I don't know who he's fought, right? So let's get to let's see if I can find an article. Let's see if I can find an article about UFC, these fights coming up. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's the one thing I forgot to mention too. Originally, it looked like they were trying to put on Alex Pereira on this card. But I don't know how they would have done that when he just fought. I mean, you have to, I think it's ruled that you have to take off so many, at least 30 to 60 days, maybe even 90 days before you can fight again, I believe. But then again, this is being fought in Brazil, so do they have different rules over there? Could be possible. Also, on top of that, I heard that I think John Jones put the challenge out there to Pereira to fight him for the heavyweight title, which John Jones would kill him. It wouldn't be even no competition. John Jones is way too experienced wrestler. And we've seen what Izzy did to him on the mat. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way John Jones would kill this dude, Alex Pereira. And the fact that John Jones is a beast, light heavyweight for all those years. Now he's a heavyweight. I think he can take the punch of Pereira. Of course, if he hits him on the right spot, of course, anybody will go down. Let's see. The flyweight title was on the line on Saturday night in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Brazilian fighters have the home field advantage from the top to the bottom of the UFC card, 301. A feverish atmosphere is expected as UFC flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja fights in his home city for the first time in a decade plus. The King of Rio, Jose Aldo, returns. Pantoja headlines UFC 301 against an unexpected challenger in Steve Ergseg. The Australian contender has gone 3-0 since signing with UFC on a short notice 11 months ago. Challenging for the world title in front of a hostile crowd is a huge upgrade from preliminary fights and a UFC Apex main card appearance. The betting odds are quite close as Ergseg hopes to rise to the major occasion. He'll have his hands full against an ultra-tough champion making his second title defense on home soil. A surprise addition is the return of record-setting featherweight champion Jose Aldo. The UFC Hall of Famer announced his mixed martial arts retirement in September 2022. So I was correct about that. But returns home to fight out his UFC contract against rising challenger bantamweight Jonathan Martinez. Other notable fighters on the card include Anthony Smith, Michael Pereira, Paul Craig, and Jack Shore. CBS Sports will be with you the entire way on Saturday, bringing you all the results and highlights from the 301. Okay, so that's what that is. It's a pretty big card. Let me see whoever's names on here that I recognize that are on the undercard. And nobody. Nobody's name do I recognize. So if it's true, so I'm pretty sure that Petrino is probably Brazilian because it said the card from Up and Down. So you figure the main event, the co-main event, Mike Pereira we know is Brazilian. And so, furthermore, if I find out anything more about this challenge that John Jones put out there for Alex Pereira Potan, then I'll come back with a video on it. But I'm stuck on. There's no way in hell that Alex Pereira is going to whoop John Jones. No way, and it don't even go the whole distance. John Jones is going to put him in the pretzel, man. If you don't, he's just too well experienced. He's been doing this way too long. And he's got a hell of a resume to back up his journey. Everybody knows that. This dude is in the question for the GOAT, and he ain't even retired yet. You know what I'm saying? He's been in the question for the GOAT. Now he's a 2-time champion, just like Pareda. But Pareda's, got a third of the fights that he has. So, something like that. So this is already in motion. 301 in Brazil. Like I said, a couple of the fights on the main card are already over. And I'll only coming to you on those 3 fights that I talked about. And I'm not like I said, I'm not really up on these fighters on this card. So with that being said, Big Lou, tapping out.